Okay, we'll start with this press conference about the re-election of President Erdogan as President of Turkey and about stopping the accession talks. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, dear friends, last week Erdogan was elected as President of Turkey. And I want to point out that Turks in the European Union voted in large numbers for Erdogan. And I consider this as an absolute low in the integration of Turkish people in the EU. Let us not forget that Erdogan has said, and I quote, "Assimilation is a crime against humanity." End of quote. We all know that this man wants to restore the Ottoman Empire. Political opponents, journalists, teachers are imprisoned, are tortured, are murdered. The oppression of the Turkish and Christian minorities increases by the day. Therefore, we support the Austrian presidency, which is about to start, and the position of the Austrian government to stop accession talks with Turkey. Turkey should never become part of the EU, and therefore not only the accession talks should stop, all pre-accession funding should stop immediately. Every euro sent to Erdogan furthers his criminal activities, and I consider the pre-accession payments as financing of a terrorist organization for which I hold the Commission responsible. The Turkish population in the EU is visiting Diyanet mosques, which are funded by the Turkish Ministry of Religious Affairs and are under absolute control of Erdogan. How can, I ask you, EU member states tolerate these Erdogan-funded imams who preach hatred against our Western society and our Western values? The voters in Turkey are more modern and more oriented towards our Western values as the Turks in the EU. And that's because of this indoctrination. These Turks living abroad helped Erdogan regain his second term and thus thwarted the desire for change in Turkey. And this change is desperately needed, as Turkey is sliding towards an Islamic dictatorship. And I also point out the security risks for the EU of an unreliable Turkey as part of NATO. Our common defence depends on the reliability of all its members. In the meantime, Erdogan has bought Russian S-400 air defence systems. Turkey has violated Greek airspace numerous times in previous years, and it still occupies a part of Cyprus. It is time to consider Turkey for what it is, a threat to the safety of the EU. It's turning into a similar state as Libya under Gaddafi. Let's start treating it that way, and I urge the Commission to do so. Thank you.
Comme mon collègue Marcel de Graaf vient de le souligner, il faut être extrêmement ferme maintenant avec la Turquie. Les élections du 24 juin ont été un succès pour Erdogan, qui a été réélu président avec 53% des suffrages. Force est de constater que beaucoup des Turcs vivant en Europe et particulièrement en France ont contribué à ce succès. Rien qu'en France, 2/3 des Turcs ont voté pour lui. La coalition regroupée autour de son parti AKP a obtenu la majorité absolue des sièges à l'Assemblée nationale, tout cela avec un taux de participation de 88%, ce qui en dit long sur son statut d'homme fort. Et maintenant qu'Erdogan est un homme fort et qu'il bénéficie aussi des fruits de la révision constitutionnelle qui en fait un hyper-président, puisque je rappelle que le régime turc est passé d'un système parlementaire à un régime présidentiel, eh bien, il ne va pas se priver maintenant, il l'a annoncé d'ailleurs, de continuer tout ce qu'il a déjà commencé à faire, en particulier depuis 2016, depuis le putsch manqué du mois de juillet 2016. Les violations des droits de l'homme sont extrêmement choquantes. Et il a mis en prison quantité de personnes qui n'avaient absolument rien à voir avec le putsch. Je mentionne notamment des juges, des journalistes, des universitaires. Moi, j'ai des collègues universitaires qui ont été mis en prison, sans aucun motif valable. Donc c'est tout à fait contraire aux valeurs européennes que nous souhaitons défendre au sein du groupe ENF. Il a également suscité beaucoup de tensions avec le monde occidental en développant un prosélytisme qui n'est pas seulement un prosélytisme pro-turc, mais un prosélytisme islamiste. C'est un défi qu'il lance au monde occidental qu'il fait depuis plusieurs années et qui va bientôt s'intensifier. Il provoque aussi beaucoup d'incertitudes pour la stabilité mondiale en attaquant des Kurdes, même dans des États voisins de la Turquie, donc au mépris de l'intangibilité des frontières. Son prosélytisme ne connaît plus de limites, puisqu'il vient parfois faire des discours en Europe. Je me souviens qu'il y a quelques mois, il en a fait un à Strasbourg, dans lequel il appelle les Turcs d'Europe à développer la civilisation turque contre la civilisation occidentale. Et puis, bien sûr, on est obligé de mentionner l'occupation de Chypre. Chypre, qui est un État membre de l'Union européenne et qui voit une partie de son territoire injustement amputée par la Turquie. Eh bien, malgré tout cela, la réaction de la Commission européenne a été singulièrement faible, puisque sa déclaration ces derniers jours a consisté à dire qu'elle souhaitait, qu'elle espérait que la Turquie resterait un partenaire engagé. Eh bien, moi, je crois qu'il faut une attitude beaucoup plus ferme, et je regrette que hier, le Parlement européen ait refusé d'inscrire à l'ordre du jour une proposition qui émanait de notre groupe ENF et qui consistait à faire venir Madame Mogherini pour lui permettre de faire le point sur la situation en Turquie. Eh bien, même ce simple fait de venir faire le point sur la situation en Turquie a été refusé par le Parlement européen. C'est dire la situation d'extrême faiblesse dans laquelle l'Union se présente. Alors heureusement, nous avons un espoir. Cet espoir, elle est située dans le Conseil. Avec la présidence autrichienne, nous pensons que le ton va changer et qu'on va enfin faire preuve de fermeté avec la Turquie, parce qu'il le faut. Il le faut au nom de nos valeurs, au nom de nos intérêts, et cela passe évidemment par l'arrêt immédiat des négociations d'adhésion. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Okay, we'll be taking questions now. Please state your name and your press agency you're working for. Go ahead.
Catherine Fiore, EU reporter. At the European Council last week, EU member states agreed that in regard to the Eastern Mediterranean route, that additional efforts would be needed to fully implement the EU-Turkey statement preventing new crossings from Turkey and bringing those flows to a halt. Given your concerns about the state of human rights in Turkey, do you think that Turkey can be regarded as a safe country for refugees? Thank you.
Well, the thing is, Turkey is a safe country for refugees, because these refugees are not a threat to the Erdogan regime. The threat is there to the opposition, to the critics of Erdogan, to people who are clinging to our Western values and who used to live in a Turkey that respected these values. And people who are refugees in refugee camps in no way are a threat to Erdogan. So in that respect, yes, it is a safe country. But I do also add to that we should not be blackmailed by Turkey with regard to this mass migration, because that is what also Mr. Erdogan has threatened the EU with, that he would send more millions of migrants if he would not give in to his demands. So he's basically using these migrants as a threat and as an attempt to blackmail the EU, and I reject that full-heartedly.
Any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
So, Catherine Fiore again. white hair. It looks very strange. Wilders, Mr. Wilders, yes. Mr. Wilders says that he will want to attend Free Tommy demonstration in the UK on the 14th of July. Now, I also noticed that you organised a press conference on this issue at the last plenary session. I mean, are you aware that he pleaded guilty to contempt of court, that he endangered a trial and the conviction of rapists, and therefore endangered putting the victims of those rapes through the same procedure again, and it endangered the process? Are you aware that he has been convicted on previous occasions of a physical attack on an off-duty police officer, that he has been charged on several times for inciting violence? Do you think it's appropriate that you support somebody like that in the UK? Because you mentioned values and European values. Well, I don't think assaulting a police officer off duty is a European value I would like to subscribe to.
Well, it's very sweet of you to protect the British government on their position and with regard to Tommy Robinson. But that leaves out the issue which we were addressing, and that is the issue of free speech. And our position is that Tommy Robinson must be able to speak out and say whatever he wants, put this hideous case of rapist in broad daylight, which was put under the carpet by a lot of people within holding responsible offices. So that is basically our first point. And the second point is that we are very concerned about the bias which is creeping into the UK justice system, because it's going very hard on Tommy Robinson with very swift response towards his actions, whereas when it comes to, for instance, this grooming gangs, these child rapists, what I call them, the response took years and years and years, and that's a bias that I can't accept, sorry.
Okay, last question in the back.
Could I follow up, please? Could I please follow up?
It's the last question, you already had to. Go ahead.
Good morning, Gallavotti, Edion Kronos, Italy. Just a question on Italy, if I may. Matteo Salvini, the leader of the Lega, said on Sunday that he wants to federate all the Eurosceptic movements under a League of the Leagues, he called that. I wonder if you're ready to federate yourselves under the Mr. Salvini's guide. Thank you.
What we already see is that a lot of Eurosceptic parties joined forces creating a European party, the MENL, which is related to this group, the ENL or ENF, depends on the language you use. So in that regard, Mr. Salvini is trying to broaden the initiative that we already have taken, and that is very successful. So yes, Mr. Salvini is, has our full support, as always, and I think that this joining forces is very necessary to create this counter force against this EU, which goes the route of Ms. Merkel, of open borders, of accepting that all kind of terrorists are entering Europe, that well, is threatening basically our safety. So yes, Mr. Salvini has our full support. Thank you.
Oui, je tiens moi aussi à vous rassurer. Nous sommes unanimes au sein du groupe ENF pour estimer qu'il faut soutenir, bien sûr, Matteo Salvini. Il a toujours été un allié fiable quand il siégeait parmi nous et nous nous réjouissons de ces initiatives qui vont dans le bon sens. Et son idée de Ligue des Ligues, c'est une façon en réalité de poursuivre le travail que nous avons fait en commun ici à Strasbourg et à Bruxelles. Donc nous sommes très heureux de voir qu'une fois au gouvernement, il reste fidèle à ses engagements.
Okay, that will be all. Thank you.
Merci Marcel.